The ghost of the white flame. 500,000 years passed since the War of the Gods. The old world faded into legend, its truths buried beneath the rubble of time. In its place rose a new age, one of divine rule and technological marvels. At the blazing heart of dominion stood Eros, the sun god, supreme commander of the celestial host, sovereign of the divine council. His will was law, his radiance a crown of fire. Around him surged the Fireborn, an endless host of warriors, as innumerable as the stars, clad in armor hammered from the molten breath of suns. Their helms burned with his eternal flame. Their blades, kissed by divinity, left scorched earth and ash in their wake. To defy them was to challenge the heavens themselves. Among these divine legions stood Balder, the mortal paragon, Eros's chosen emissary to humankind. In him burned a shard of the god's own essence, a living ember of celestial might. His strength could sunder mountains. His flesh was tougher than any rune-tempered alloy known to man, a living fortress against all blades. He was proof that Eros had not forsaken the world of men. His faith was unbreakable. His purpose, sacred, to shield humanity from the chaos that ever threatened to consume it. At his flank marched Commander Thalos Vire, a man reforged, his body a fusion of alchemy and divine machinery, his soul tempered in war. He commanded legions beneath the sun god's banner, a relentless force of judgment. Where Balder was the covenant between god and mortal, Thalos was the executioner of divine wrath. He did not parley, he did not yield. His creed was singular: to annihilate all who dared rise against Eros's dominion. Earth was no longer a ruin. Towering cities gleamed with the fusion of godly technology and human ingenuity. Hovering spires pierced the clouds, and energy conduits pulsed like veins beneath the streets. But beyond the city walls, in Solmara, culture ran deep. The neighborhoods were a mosaic of humans and beings from distant realms, refugees of forgotten wars, wanderers from shattered dimensions. Though their gods differed, or were absent entirely, the people were united by something more enduring: the shared struggle to survive in a world that had nearly left them behind. They built lives from what remained. Most worked with their hands, laboring in the few industries that still endured. Some ran daycares, raising the next generation amid the echoes of conflict. Others cooked in corner kitchens, feeding neighbors who had little but gave much. Faith was optional, community was not. In Solmara, survival was sacred, and solidarity was the creed. While the gods bartered influence through diplomacy and mortals pledged themselves to whichever throne roared loudest, some refused to look skyward. Their gaze remained earthbound, fixed on the fractured soil, on the world as it was, not as the gods claimed it to be. Among them, an older faith endured. Quiet, unseen, older than the stars themselves. Its followers were few, their rituals predating the marble halls of the current pantheon. They spoke of eternal truths, of a white flame that did not burn, but birthed, a fire that created, not consumed. In hidden sanctuaries they gathered. They whispered of a prophecy, that one would come bearing the flame, not to conquer, but to restore, to mend what divine ambition had shattered, to bring balance to a world long broken. In the heart of Solmara lived Kirinsol, a man of quiet strength and honest labor. He worked the freight yards, where the air hung thick with dust and the groan of steel. His hands were calloused, his brown skin weathered like sun-baked leather, his muscles carved by years of toil. He was no soldier, no prophet, just a man trying to carve out a life in a world that rarely gave back. But in his youth, Kirinsol had been something more. His strength was uncommon, his athleticism the envy of his peers. The gods themselves had taken notice, offering him a place in the cosmic bowl, a celestial arena where champions clashed for the amusement of mortals and immortals alike. Glory, wealth, and divine favor could have been his. He refused. Instead, he chose the hard path, the path of sweat and soil, of building something real in a world ruled by spectacle. Newlywed, he hauled crates through streets cratered with neglect, each step a testament to endurance. At night, he dreamed, not of fame or fire, but of peace, of a home untouched by war and divine ambition. The people of Solmara knew him not for power, but for presence. He was steady, kind, and a man of the people. Each morning, without fail, Kiran's soul passed the same man, a figure draped in threadbare layers, his beard silvered with age, his eyes calm as still water. Ragged, soft-spoken, and possessed of a strange serenity, the man sat like a fixture of the city itself, unmoved by the chaos around him. At first, Kiran's soul offered only a nod, a courteous smile, the occasional coin when his pockets allowed. But as seasons turned and the city shifted, their silent exchanges grew into something more. Kiran's soul began packing extra food before dawn, half a sandwich wrapped in cloth, a thermos of soup still steaming by the time it reached the man's hands. They shared these humble meals on cracked stone steps or rusted benches, beneath flickering street lamps and the distant hum of freight haulers. It became a ritual, quiet, peculiar, and oddly sacred. The man never begged, never asked. Instead, he gave. Words mostly, gentle encouragements, cryptic parables, and fragments of scripture murmured from a weathered book bound in faded cloth and the scent of old rain. He spoke of a mystery, the white flame, the primal power that gave birth to all things. Forgotten by the world, its embers smothered beneath the ambitions of gods and men. The flame was thought extinguished, but it was not lost. It burned still, hidden in the souls of men whose destinies are not to be forged in the fires of war, but to live in quiet accord with the flame's will. "You're destined for more than this," the old man would say, his voice rustling like wind through dry leaves. "There's a light in you, one the world will need." Kiran's soul would offer a faint smile, a nod, and keep walking. He wasn't a man of faith. He had no patience for riddles wrapped in prophecy. His world was crates and concrete, not omens and gods. But he kept bringing food, and the man kept speaking. Their bond was quiet, wordless in many ways, strange to outsiders but steady. In a city ruled by celestial fire and machine logic, it was one of the few things that felt human.